Right, what is up, my mates? It has been quite some time since last we did a little video like this. By that I mean my reactions, my thoughts, etc, etc. And as you know, a very important thing was announced at the Game Awards 2024, which is that of the title of the video, The Witcher 4 was announced. Now, we already knew that The Witcher 4 was in the works, we just did not know anything about it other than that Geralt was not the protagonist anymore, and it featured a new Witcher school, which was the School of the Lynx, right here. Now, the trailer looked absolutely awesome, and knowing CD Projekt Red, this is probably how it's gonna look, because we know how The Witcher 3's cinematic trailers looked, but it was pretty close. You know, obviously it was juiced up for cinematic purposes, but generally that's how Geralt looked, that's how his armor looked. So I'm excited to see Ciri in this armor. She looks very cool. Some people were dissing how she looked. I think she looks awesome. The only thing I was upset about is the fact that her voice actress isn't the same. I guess they just want to give some more grizzledness to her now that she's older. Now, things look good, but I'm also not quite pleased with the trailer, which is the fact that we are playing as Ciri. Now, before you call me anything, it's not because of the reasons you're thinking. It's because I played so much of The Witcher 3, and when I first beat the game, many moons ago, I too really wanted Ciri to be the next protagonist of the game, because it did feel like Geralt's story was ending. But I feel like the whole story was ending, because you have Ciri is basically completing her prophecy, you know, getting rid of the thing, the white frost. And no matter the ending, she's completing a major prophecy, and she is the chosen one, and it feels like continuing after that, like what is gonna be the big bad now? And then the more I played The Witcher, the more I felt like, yeah, having a Witcher continuation wouldn't make much sense, because, you know, constantly Geralt's running into antagonism against Witchers. You know, everybody hates Witchers.
A freak. A useless relic of a bygone age that should be burned like a withered branch.
Temperature rises. It's grown hot, my friend, and it grows hotter still. Pyres burn in every city. For mages great and small, your female friends included. For non-humans, for witchers soon. Is that the North you espouse? The North you're prepared to live in?
Except in Toussaint, people like Witchers. Well, not Witchers, but just Geralt, because he's famous. And he's a knight, so they like him. But with playing more of the endings, too, I felt like Ciri's story was ending, and I liked the fact that we get 3 different Ciri endings. There's obviously more endings to The Witcher 3, but Ciri had 3 endings, and those endings were her death, or her becoming Empress, or her becoming a Witcher. Now, that's where my big gripe comes in, which is the fact that the CD Projekt Red games have had this problem with The Witcher, because going from 2 to 3, 2 had about 16 endings. They tout this in some of their ads. I could be wrong, but we'll have it popped up. But yeah, I think that, because when you start The Witcher 3, and when you're going to the Nilfgaard holding in Vizima, they talk to you about, you know, what happened in The Witcher 2, Geralt's retelling. But it's only bits and pieces of that whole story that you barely apparently get to make a difference in, because they still have a very linear set of what they decided to go with. The only really major thing that you really alter is Letho. If you killed Letho or didn't kill Letho. If you didn't kill Letho, you get a cool option to have him fight in the last battle, because you'll find him on a random contract, which I thought was a really cool detail. And I think it made Letho's character more interesting, and Geralt too, the fact that he was able to forgive him and then be like, hey, come help me at Kaer Morhen. You know, let's do this, let's fight the Wild Hunt. Very cool. But ultimately, most of your choices don't seem to matter. I don't think there's really any mention if you with full test children, what you did with them. And then there's also the issue with Yorveth. He's not in the game. So even if you sided with the Scoia'tael, Roach is gonna be your buddy, and he's not really gonna care that you sided with the Scoia'tael during The Witcher 2. You just get to carry on helping him like nothing happened, really. I think he has maybe one or two little jabby remarks, but they're nothing like, oh, what the hell, man? Like, nothing that really makes a difference, because in the end, you're still gonna be doing stuff with Roach to progress the Witcher 3 story. So that's just kind of lame. And then, so with them having Ciri as the main protagonist of the next game, it really kind of keeps going with what they've been not doing, which is making the player's choices feel null. Because I like all three endings, even with Ciri dying, because of how dark The Witcher is and how messed up it is. It's kind of fitting into, it's just painful scene when you see Geralt, you know, going to kill the last crone just to try and right a wrong, and ultimately possibly dying, because I think technically that would take place after Toussaint. I'm not too sure, but that was powerful. That was one of the endings I liked. And then the Empress ending, a lot of people actually liked the Empress ending. They felt that the Empress ending was actually canon because it just kind of makes sense. She's a child of the Elder Blood, she's nobility, she's the true heir to Nilfgaard, and she could bring about a better peace than what her biological father is doing, you know, starting war, and there could actually be peace in the realms if she was Empress. And of course, the Witcher ending is also cool, like Ciri going on the path and such, but that's why I feel like that is fine just being an up in the air thing, because what is going to be the big bad? You know, now that the Wild Hunt's gone, yeah, maybe she'll still have pursuers, so in the new game, that could be interesting. Otherworldly pursuers trying to get her power. It's similar to the Wild Hunt, but ultimately it felt like the Wild Hunt was the big bad. The White Frost was the big bad. All gone. And the world is just kind of done with Witchers, so... Yeah, but depending on your ending as well, so is it going to be canon that Radovid is dead, so like non-humans and like witches and such, sorceresses are going to be fine? I don't know. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a good game. I'm just a little disappointed because teasing the School of the Lynx made me think we were going to get a prequel story where we make our own Witcher, because they showed that with Cyberpunk 2077 that they could let you make your own character with lots of customizing options, so it would have been cool to have that for a Witcher game set in the past. The only reason I think they might not want to do that is because they did want Ciri to be the canon official first female Witcher, which is cool. She definitely deserves it, and it would be hard to sort of make it to where your character wouldn't necessarily be remembered, so it was off the records that there was ever a female Witcher. So I can kind of understand that, but at the same time, I'm sure if they really tried, they could have done something like that. But it sucks because the story was so good, and I think what I worry about with the continuation is Geralt. A lot of people are saying he's gonna get Last of Us 2 like Joel, which I really hope not, but he had an epilogue, you know, Toussaint, he's retired, he's there. I just like it when we don't continue things and we can just have our own headcanon based on your endings, and it's just nice for the consumer, the viewer, the player, the gamer to make up their story instead of just continuing it. And it discounts that for me. Everything that happened in The Witcher 3, it's slightly discounted by that, because Geralt is going to be in the game, so it's like, well, what's he going to do? Is he still going to do monster slaying with Ciri? Like, it just... That's where I'm a little frustrated, too. And the fact that it looks like Ciri might have undergone the Trial of Grasses, which is weird how they're going to explain that, because Vesemir didn't really know how to do the trial. It was kind of like a last call resort when they did that on Uma, and now Vesemir's dead, the only one who really sort of knew anything. You know, he's the oldest Witcher alive, and now he's gone. So for the fact that Ciri to just now possibly have undergone the trials, some people say that there's creative explanation for why she's able to use Witcher signs in the trailer. because her Elder Blood power can kind of mimic that, which is cool and interesting. And then the fact that her potions could be something that her Elder Blood could also, you know, like, handle, which I'm fine with, because I really hope she doesn't undergo the Trial of the Grasses, because they'd have to do some interesting explanation for that to tie in between 3 and 4. But I'm sure they could do it. I mean, I believe in CD Projekt Red after Cyberpunk, because they showed that they can overcome a shitty release and, like, make the game how it was meant to be, given time. So I'm sure it'll be a good game. I just have some gripes, and I have no problems playing with Ciri. I hope it's good. And the other concern I have is the fact that she's the chosen one and super overpowered, because I really hope that they're able to make her powers and leveling interesting. Not too overpowered, but not too, like, bare bones at the beginning, like, if that makes sense. Because in The Witcher 3, it feels like Geralt's already pretty strong, and you're just really just adding more. And then there's even some creative things, like with the mutagen thingy that you find. I think it's in Blood and Wine, to where you can get an extra mutagen slot. So maybe that's something we can explore. Maybe more lore about Elder Blood, and how she's just kind of finding things to understand her powers more. And cool teleporting thingies to, like, go to other worlds, and, like, so she can learn more about that. I don't know. But ultimately, I like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. I do believe it will be a fun game. I just have worries of the story and how it might discount what greatness has come before it, because you always run the risk of, when you continue something, you know, it just gets too saturated with lots of stuff that just kind of discount everything you've put before it, and it makes the story impact less powerful, because you're just like, oh well, let's keep going. And then they're planning to make a trilogy, from what I understand, of this new Ciri Witcher things, which is like, oh man, that's crazy. I am looking forward to it. I really hope it is good, and I miss The Witcher, especially with how terrible the TV show's been. So it'll be nice to get back into, you know, people who actually care about the story, and that's why I'm okay with CD Projekt Red doing this, because I know they know the story and they know what they're doing. They've proven that they know and appreciate and love the characters. So I'm sure that my worries will be nulled once the game comes out. But we shall see. You can't trust anything in the gaming world these days. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, my mates. Have an epic day, and I shall see you next time!